And welcome back to beautiful Berlin and the EULCS studio where Fnatic and G2 are in a thrilling fight that has gone all the way to game number 3. If there was 2 more, it would be Silver Scrape's time, but not yet. Let's talk about how these teams have got here. Fnatic, dominant win in game number 1. G2, maybe a little messy, but still strong mid to late game hitting. What do you think G2 or Fnatic have to do to win game 3?
I think G2 showed up a good adaptation in game number 2. What they lost to game 1 was the global pressure from Shen coming in and helping towards the bottom lane. And now in game 2, they used one of the basic rules of League of Legends. Like, don't chase the Singe, don't face check the Garen, and go to the source of the global.
Clean and simple.
That's really effective. I think it makes a very valid point.
I'm trying to remember the rules. Yes, this will help.
Yeah, I think it's a very valid point. We saw multiple times both Expect and Trick investing way more resources into killing Soaz. I think he had a great game 1, and in game 2, his impact was significantly less so, given the amount of pressure that G2 were looking to try and exert.
Well, it ended up working in favor of G2. They balanced the series out. We know as a team, historically, they can bounce back in best of series. Let's turn our focus to Fnatic a little bit more. Very clean game. Kennen, 7 games undefeated for Reckless, now defeated, just outscaled by Sven's Twitch. What's your take on Fnatic and any of their players, really?
I feel like that the biggest issue Fnatic had with their composition as a whole was this LeBlanc pick in the middle lane. Yes, it did phenomenally against Perks. It killed him twice, one with the help of Broxah, one just straight out solo killing the king, right? So we can clearly see that, yes, you know how to carry. However, in this composition, which is very much built around team fighting, responding to the pressure that your opponents are trying to put down onto you, it's really not as effective when you look at these team fights, right? Because every time Caps went in, he was getting chunked out by the Cassio route or it was the Twitch. Yeah. And every single time, he was always getting punished. And I feel like that on this particular champion against the comp that G2 were running, as the game progressed, it became harder and harder and harder for him to really have the same sort of impact that he had with his Orianna in game 1.
So step back from the players now, because we both looked at them in depth. What's your take on G2's current level, knowing they've come off this small break and Perks is still recovering, and seeing how Fnatic are playing? It feels maybe cleaner than last week. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. What's your take there, Yes?
I feel like that G2 are just looking a little rusty, right? They're still wiping off a lot of the things that, like, okay, we've been out of the game for a little while. We're still figuring stuff out. It seems like they have a good grasp on the meta based on their bans and their draft and the fact they're even willing to play around the Kennen. But I do think that there are just a couple things, like, in terms of their macro play and just straight up their laning, right? Perks, you should not expect him to die 1v1.
Yeah, for sure. I think that the individual mechanics might have been a little bit off. It's also Sven getting burst down, not doing anything in game number 1. But they've been looking cleaner as a team, and I think their team play could be what gives them the win here in game 3.
Oh, very, very interesting. Okay, we've been playing a game all day. Well, I have. I've been.
You have.
It's a prediction game, right? Now, our new kid on the block was wrong in series number 1. We're going to give him an option to be right this time around. He predicted a Fnatic series win. Henning, who will win now, and what's your take?
Do I look like a quitter to you, Trevor? Do I look like a quitter to you? No. I gotta go with Fnatic. I gotta go. I think Brox is gonna get an aggressive, good early game, and I think Fnatic's gonna take it.
All right, not a quitter. But will the longest-standing member of the desk, Vedius, change his vote? He called for G2. Vedius, will they do it?
Listen. Henning may have chosen for Fnatic, but I chose correctly. So I'm going to stick with my G2 vote, and you better trust me.
I totally forced them to do that. Thank you so much, guys. Right, the stage is set for the last battle in this thriller between G2 Esports and Fnatic. Pyra, who takes home the crown?
Woo! You're asking me, Quick Shot. Thank you so much. I'm going to be honest, I have absolutely no idea, but it is going to be a fantastic game 3. If games 1 and 2 are anything to go by, Deficio, what do you want to see this one?
Ooh, well, I think a lot of people, obviously talked about Fnatic's draft in the last game, and I think that's kind of unfair to say that a poor draft. By any means, I actually think it was really good, and I think a lot of things worked for them during the game, and they definitely did not lose because of that. Yes, surprise, surprise. When you go late game against Twitch and Cassiopeia, you tend to lose fights, but that's why your comp is obviously trying to win before that, and they actually did find enough openings. So we might just see a very similar game where Fnatic once again are trying to get their hands on Kennen and Shen. I believe G2 Esports will be blue side. Last time was Thresh, Elise, Xayah bans on blue.
Might see something a little different this time, maybe? Do they take the tack, or do they just say, screw it, let's ban the cannon away? They beat it, but it did take them a long time.
Exactly. Yes, you did win in the end, but obviously you did struggle against it at certain points as well in the game. You really want to get Mithy on Thresh, so have that as a potential first pick, but the problem is if Fnatic leaves Zac open again as the bait, then you kind of need to first pick the Zac, and then you can potentially give away Thresh, which is why G2 bans it. So I think we might see the same kind of bans in here from them as in game 1, and potentially look to give the Kinnan over once again, despite the risk involved in it.
Well, we are about to find out. For the final time today, Jisoo, Esports, and Fnatic are readying up into picks and bans. That Xayah is out the board first this time, followed by the Syndra. Same bans there.
Yeah, Xayah being removed. I think actually you can wait with that ban a little bit and see if Fnatic removes it on red side, where we normally see her removed. I like this adaptation with the Zac, saying we don't want to actually be forced into have to first pick Zac if things like Thresh would be open, because we saw before that Fnatic did not have an answer that could actually allow Jessis and Reckless to win the bot lane.
Yes, indeed. Now G2, are they going to do anything different once again?
Should probably just ban Elise then, if they are looking to first pick Thresh, or ban the Thresh and first pick Elise. So that might be what they're looking to do here.
All right.
I think they
still
value...
give away the Lee Sin.
Yeah, they give away Lee Sin, which obviously is a bit annoying, which actually with that point, Pyra, could set up a first pick cannon and just trade junglers. But I think giving Elise to Broxah is super, super risky, and it's the perfect pick for him and Fnatic's early game.
Fnatic, they're weighing their last ban heavily here in phase 1. What will it be as the seconds tick by?
Man.
They elect to ban the Twitch. Does anyone have a chance on that? And what else are G2 going to take? I mean, it's the cannon away?
It's cannon or Elise. Either you take the cannon and you trade Elise for Lee Sin or Kha'Zix, and you're fine with that, or you take the Elise, which I think is the correct choice because it is just such a power pick in the current meta and the best jungler for Broxah and Fnatic's early game. So once again, seems like Reckless will get his Ken and Shen combo. And that's where maybe you got to look at the bans and say, is it worth it banning, you know, the Thresh as well? But it's hard.
They leave the Shen open, though, as they take Lee Sin early on here.
Yeah, but G2 have not been picking Shen early, so I don't think Fnatic is too afraid of that. I think G2 are looking to just get a winning top lane once again for Expect here. Just give him a carry champion and give Shen over to Fnatic. You gotta keep in mind, Rumble is a great pick against Shen, so by taking that early, they already show, okay, this is gonna be our top lane matchup, but that actually might mean Source just won't pick the Shen. Like, there's other champions he can play.
So maybe they're hoping he doesn't pick it, so they're mind gaming.
I don't know. There's a lot of mind games, and these two teams here, they scream each other. You know, they obviously talk a lot to each other. They know each other so well, which is why these pick and ban phases are so fun in terms of the small mind games always happening.
But at the end, G2 lock in the Kog'Maw for Sven. It's been a day for hyper carries, especially for him.
Now we have to remember, if Zyra is not banned in the next phase by G2, then that becomes the first pick for Jessis, and Fnatic can ban away counters. Ooh, Jarvan
last second switch up. All right, so Jarvan's in for Expect. Now, what are Fnatic going to answer with?
Could take Zyra here, ban away counters like Blitzcrank from Mithy, and then you have a super strong 2-2 bot lane, but Shen is probably the go-to choice. So you don't risk it getting banned. Unless Fnatic are trying to spice it up a little bit. I think the Shen cannon combo worked just fine. And I think that's why they decide to go with it once again. And now we're looking at that Zyra for Jessis, which should be abandoned by G2 Esports to avoid the same situation we saw in game 1.
All right. So that expected right now. What else are Fnatic going to ban on their side? They've got 2 more left up and available. We're still looking for a Perks champion. I got to think that Cassiopeia is getting out of there.
Well, the thing is, you haven't shown any mid laners, so the pool is so open that when you start banning mid laners, you don't actually pinch the roll too much, because then, well, Perks goes Orianna. He's like, okay,
that's a good point.
That's fine. The Zyra ban here is way more impactful, in my opinion, and a smart choice. If G2 can get away with playing a melee support bot lane, they'll take it, 100%. If they can get like a Braum, that's exactly what they're looking for. Or, worst case, you just pick Lulu again, and you just try and say, you know what? Early laning, not important. Let's get to team fights. Let's get to the late game.
But Fnatic banned the Orianna themselves, so that says no Wombo combo.
Well, it's because it's the safest blind pick for G2. So it starts hinting towards Caps getting a counter pick, and you pick your support here for Jessis. And then you have your Caps pick last against Perks. LeBlanc here could take away from them to avoid Caps, obviously having that option. So a lot of decisions now with Zyra being removed for Fnatic, and they seem to go back to an old standard, an old comfort with the Karma mid, but not exactly the pick that destroys the enemy team's pick and ban phase.
No, that could also still be definitely not going to be.
I mean, it opens up for Lulu. It opens up for Lulu.
Lulu Kog, I mean, it's your pretty solid combo all across the board, right?
Lulu support, obviously not Lulu mid. Lucian mid coming in.
Not as a flex,
G2.
just the blind.
I think Victor or Cassiopeia could be two good choices then for Fnatic to go against the Lucian mid lane. Will do just fine, especially the Cassiopeia can actually out-trade Lucian pretty well, and I think that would be a good choice for Caps, because he also sits with the Shen ulti to help him. So in case Lucian ever all-ins, like dashes forward,
install,
you can call the Shen ult, and it's really hard for Lucian to get out. So I think there's a really good last pick for Caps, and of course, why they save that last pick for him.
All right, and we'll see if they get into a tussle in that mid lane once again. G2 Esports and Fnatic going at it for supremacy in Group A. We'll see who's going to come out on top. Fnatic have themselves some serious shields in the form of Shen. At least Sin's adding a little bit up in there. And of course the Karma. So there's protection for Caps. And then of course Reckless. He really does love that cannon.
Of course, when you leave it open, you know, it's the champion that's banned the most in the EULCS, and then when G2 plays Fnatic, they leave it open 3 games in a row.
It's confidence.
It's confidence.
Gotta give them that.
They're definitely trying to show that they can play against it. Succeeded one game, failed the other one. And also Jarvan top for Expect. We said it, he wants the carries, give Shin over to Source every time. And I think Expect had a good Renekton performance. If he can do the same on Jarvan, then this champion can take over the game. We've seen it in LCK multiple times already. Early kills for him. He roams around the map with a crazy strong ulti, and then suddenly you win the game.
Yeah, not to mention he's got Trick on Elise right now, so we could see some early trips up top. But of course, Broxah might look to match that now. We want to hear from you guys. It has been a long, hard-fought series between G2 and Fnatic, but who do you think will take the final victory? Hop on Twitter, hashtag G2 winner, hashtag FNC win. I got a feeling I know who the fans are going to vote for, Deficio, but tell me straight, who you think?
I mean, that's so hard to call already. That's the thing. So much depends on the Soa's Reckless combo in the mid game, or let's see, Trick's performance early game on this Elysia, because G2's comp is a little bit all over the place. There's some late game scaling, but there's also a lot of early game power with Elise, Jarvan, Lucian. A lot of different options for them and how they want to play early on. And we're looking at Trick, of course, on this Elise, and Broxah to try and match the early aggression.
Well, Broxah wasn't able to do it in game number 1. I was right. I thought Fnatic was going to win that vote.
Well, they do tend to win the fan votes.
Easiest prediction ever.
But still important to highlight that G2 has picked up a lot of fans after MSI.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, huge, honestly, amount of support coming out from their performance there, and just how much work they've been putting in is kind of started to shine through, especially. Not just the MSI performance, but honestly, overall, it's been a long time coming.
And also a lot of respect. That's what I notice a lot. Like, it's not necessarily people just blindly saying, oh, I love everything about this lineup. It's a lot of respect now after their performance, you know, really challenging SKT in that final, taking down WE as well. Knocking out TSM was also part of it.
Yeah, no, that's always a good thing.
It helps for the European fans. Tend to like you more when you beat North America.
Yeah, a little bit extra regional pride going a long way for sure. G2, you know, finally showing up on an international stage, and we can definitely expect some great things for them going forward. But into this one, they've still got to knock Fnatic down a few pegs. If they can do it, push themselves a little closer to their rightful place in Group A. I mean, this is a hell of a competitive group, it looks like. Everybody's starting to challenge. Even NIP, we saw earlier today, giving a hell of a hard time to Misfits Gaming.
Now, obviously, we are expecting Fnatic and G2 to be the 2 teams sitting at number 1 and number 2 in Group A and make it into the playoffs. I think people would be very surprised if that didn't happen.
Well, that would be one crazy roller coaster ride if things start to turn around a little differently.
Definitely true, and that's the important thing about Summer Split is, you know, it's obviously about making playoffs and winning Summer Split, but it's also just about making worlds. And Fnatic, G2, HK, Unicorns, all these teams, they really want to go to Worlds, and they've had really good starts to the EULCS. Misfits always talking about, you know, the 1-year plan, end up at Worlds as well. So much competition in Europe for who will actually make it all the way to the World Championships. Everyone is expecting G2 to go, based on them winning the spring split as well and being a team that won 3 splits in a row. But they got to take 2 other teams with them.
Yeah, and this is early to say. We're only in week number 2, right? But G2 have been challenged harder than, honestly, we've seen them since their LCS debut. In this series so far, Fnatic really taking it to them. And, I mean, you can't really speak too much about last week with the sub-squad.
Of course.
They did lose to Rocket in game number 1, which was some sick Zaya Rakan play, but they kind of wised up pretty quickly.
Yeah, kind of stumped Rocket in the next 2 games.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to give some credit to Sven and Mythi, really able to direct
of course.
some of those rookies around. But at full strength, you know, I mean, G2, like, it may not even be their final form. We see all sorts of improvement.
Oh, of course not. Like, this team will just get better and better now once they're back after holidays. That's kind of thing they always talk about. This is the time for Fnatic to beat us because now we're not fully practiced. But I don't think Fnatic cares about that. They just want to win this series, no matter who they face.
I mean, talk about bragging rights. You managed to take down G2 Esports during the regular season at their full strength. Okay, maybe they're still shaking the rust off, but man, in game 2, they turned it around. We'll see if they can get themselves off to a lead once again. We talked about early pushing lanes for them last time. Didn't always quite work out. This time, they still got a lot of late game insurance. I'm looking at Sven.
Yeah, I feel like I've heard that one before. Late game insurance, I'm looking at Sven. Kind of became the saving grace for G2 during the group stages of MSI. Managed to win multiple games based on just going full late game with him. They don't have to go full late game here. You have Elise, Jarvan, Lucian. That is definitely enough to fight in the mid game, man. Sven obviously on 1 item is actually also fairly strong. Like, he's not super weak until the full late game.
But this takes me back to game 1, right? Like, you've got the same combination available. If Soaz at level 6 can make a play down bot, they can start to bust the game open. And remember what happened down there in game 1? They picked off Mythi first, so he could not even get the wild growth out. You've got to think they'll be gunning for him again.
Of course, but then we have to remember game 2 where they were setting up for that play, and suddenly Trick went top lane, managed to secure a kill for Expect and a tower, and it became much harder for for Fnatic to make that play bot lane. And it's the same thing we're looking at here. Caps, early trading, Corruption Potion is your start. Pop it just when you go into the trade, and you can actually out-damage the Lucian. And that is what Caps just managed to do right here. But we want to see early ganks from Trick. He's top lane. Oh, he actually jumps behind Broxah, but they do see each other now.
Yeah, double buff on double buff. There's a Sonic Wave, but it looks like Broxah is going to opt to get under the safety of turret, as Expect has this wave charging in. Might be a little early to try to go for that dive, so Trick is going to back off.
And Jarvan, if you have not been following LCK, where we've seen him dominate quite a lot of games, it's not necessarily in the laning phase you just destroy everyone. No, it's getting your ulti. It's then joining the team around the map, roaming to mid lane, TPing to bot lane, and then using this insanely strong Jarvan ulti and his burst against a lot of these targets that don't really have any dashes. If you're Cassiopeia without flash, how do you get out of Jarvan ulti?
Yeah. Not a whole lot you can do there, and not to mention, if you pair that with Sven, you're going to have a bad time. Now, speaking of, it's first blood in mid as Perkz finds 2 champs are better than 1.
I love the 1v1s between these 2 guys here. I know, of course, Broxah joins after.
It's a great 1v1.
The bait at first from Caps, doing the 1v1 where he keeps his W. He doesn't use the W. Actually, see Trick finding Broxah here.
Ooh, that's a lot of burst. He gets the smite down for the extra health. Going to force Trick to turn around now as Cassiopeia is still there. Not a whole lot of mana. He repels up and out. I heard a flash. Trick burns it, but he wasn't able to close the distance.
So what's so beautiful once we get the replay of that little fight here is how Caps actually sits with W ready. It is not on cooldown, but he saves it until the key moment when Broxah shows up, because then Perkz can't actually flash or dash out of it. You are unable to use any of these movement abilities while you're standing on the miasma from Cap. So he baited, he held on to it until Broxah showed up, then used it, and Perkz couldn't react in time. Such a smart play from Caps right there.
Yeah, and honestly, considering he's up against a player that is so renowned for honestly being able to crush out in laning phase, Caps is definitely not having too hard of a time, even with some assists from Broxah. We're going to see it again.
Yeah, so now they're trading. He could use his W here on the Cassiopeia, but he doesn't use it. He saves it, and then when Broxah shows up, before Perkz can actually react, Miasma comes down, and therefore Perkz can't actually escape. He can't dash out of it. And then it's an easy Q to land from Broxah, and it's all baiting. Lee Sin is out of vision. Once he's in vision, you use the Miasma and you get the kill.
But nice placement for Broxah as well, being in the right place at the right time. Early game aggression. Talked about him being able to match what Trick was doing. Well, he's honestly been able to one-up him so far. even if Trick found him on his Raptor camp, he couldn't finish the job either and got a flash out of him to boot.
Great for Brox, obviously, in this matchup where Lee Sin, in terms of scaling, is superior. You always respect the Elise early game, but then much later... Oh, baby!
Caps is going all in. You're grounded, mister. Perkz is going to have to dash and flash, and he's going to eke away with an inch of his life, but he got everything burned to do it.
Sick engage from Caps right there. Old flashes over the wall, no reaction.
What a madman
for Perkz. Luckily for Perkz, he actually saved that flash he couldn't use last time and used that to get out of this one. But the Cassiopeia counter pick, we said it in Champ Select, it actually works really well against the Lucian. Not necessarily I'm going to dumpster you in lane, but you can definitely take the early fights. And Caps is doing exactly that against Perkz.
Broxa moving back to the scene of the crime here. Spotted on a ward by Expects Jarvan. He's going for a roam himself, but he's also pinged out, so whatever G2 were planning with Expect, it's not going to come to fruition just yet.
But now with this flash gone, the Jarvan ulti is so impactful. If he gets to push top lane and roam down through the river unnoticed, little mistaken communication from Fnatic, and suddenly Jarvan shows up and Cassiopeia will either die or they force the Shen ulti defensively on her. And that means they can't use Shen ulti in the bottom lane to make a play against Mithy. So a lot of small things can happen right now, like almost a domino effect. If one play happens through Expect, suddenly the bot lane from G2 is much safer. If that play doesn't happen, then we can see the play from Fnatic with the Shen ulti on bottom side. So a lot of small openings. If Perkz goes aggressive here, Shen ulti can also happen straight onto Cassiopeia, and Perkz can't get out, no flash.
It's true, things start changing right now. So as having that ultimate starts to make a big difference. Dragon warded up by both teams, Mithy trying to clear out what he can. But G2 have been able to hold up decently well so far, that mid lane pick notwithstanding. And it really is only a 500 gold advantage the way of Fnatic. No other big edges on the map just yet.
And we're looking at Expect and his movements. He's once again stepping down from the top lane. But the ward here from Source did spot him. Always look for Jarvan to leave and go mid against the no-flash Cassiopeia. And then whenever he's leaving, Source can call. Now he can actually TP away. He can actually ult away and join his team. So we might see some fights either mid or bot lane. Trick wants to attack the global.
Here we go. Soaz does have a dash, so he can very easily get outside the Cataclysm. And that ward was pretty value. They spotted Trick coming up, and now he's committing hard here into the wave of minions, forcing the flash out of Soaz as he sends a cocoon flying. Meanwhile, Perkz trying to sneak back into his own tower range. Sends a calling on Caps as a Petrifying Gaze gets cleansed out. And Broxa, meanwhile, is able to secure a Dragon. Now Fnatic, 3 members strong, looking for the bottom side. Soaz still can't get back.
No, he's just getting denied everything, but Caps are trying to do the same mid. Meanwhile, bot lane as well. We saw Broxa just go down there after taking the Dragon. Shen ulti is ready, no TP from Expect. Fnatic could make a play on bottom side while they're losing top tower.
Yeah, G2, they are able to get first brick for themselves. Fnatic are going to try to commit a little harder, but Sven and Mithy look to back away.
Yeah, this is credit to Sven and Mithy. Look how far back they're sitting. They're not allowing Fnatic to just easily go for a tower dive with the Shen ulti. So them respecting the play means that Fnatic can only get damage on the tower and not some kills.
Nicely played by them. It looks like Fnatic will be able to trade for tower, or at least a lot of damage. You can see that Perkz and Trick are running for this bottom lane, but they will turn tail right back around as Fnatic won't hard commit.
And this is just the kind of situation you see so often where the enemy bot lane just gets killed because they're trying to stay under the tower defending. They're like, oh, was that 4 guys from the other team joining and killing us? Well, that sucks. Now we lost kills and the tower. Sven and Mithy, respecting the cross-map play, means they actually stay alive and they can go in and defend this tower here. So they got first tower top lane and didn't lose the tower in the bottom lane. Just smart play, communication from top to bottom.
100% of the way, Fnatic trying to push back, but it is them who have fallen behind now as G2 with the gold from first tower get themselves up in the lead only by 300. It's not huge right now. Caps still bullying out Perkz. We saw earlier that Perkz on that Lucian in game 1 was having a bit of a better time, but this time not quite so much. Caps is playing with some serious confidence here.
Yeah, and again, it's also because Perkz knows he can't really all-in Caps due to Shen ulti. He needs Expect to join. Still few seconds on that flash from Caps, and once again, we get the Jarvan roam we mentioned. He's sneaking down. No wards in the river.
Ooh, Perks is able to turn away.
There we go.
There we go. There he goes, and now there is no flash up and available. Caps has nowhere to go, and he accepts his fate, but not before Soaz comes in with the tuck. Can he get out? No, the double tap. It's Expect who finishes the job. Soaz came in just a smidgen too late.
Yeah, not possible for Fnatic to have wards in that river after losing the top lane tower. And just in time before that flash will be ready again for Caps. We got the roam from Expect. And we got the defensive Shen ulti. It almost feels like these teams agreed. This is how we should play out this game. And they're like, okay, you come mid with Java and you kill this guy, but then we defensive Shen ulti and we try and, you know, do something to maybe fight back. Meanwhile, Brock's bottom side. Expect's TP is ready. There's a ward in this brush here just behind Reckless in the lane.
Soaz can match it on TP. Oh, they're shredding the wave though. Between Sven and Mithy, they've got a lot of damage on these minions, but still Fnatic want to commit to this. Mantra Q, Mithy taken down to half health, but you can see Expect is hanging out. He's pinged. Fnatic know what's up.
Yeah, so they actually see him. They also will see Trick if he shows himself on the top side. Oh, Broxa.
Okay, Mithy has to wild growth on himself as Broxa was looking to come on in. But meanwhile, up top, we got action as well. Trick is going right through the minion line, and Soaz goes in for the taunt. Doesn't quite get it. The TP coming around the side. Trick is still going for it. Expect just can't close the distance. He flag and drags over the wall. Looking to turn on Soaz. No tower there for him to go back to as the tower falls down in the bottom side. Soaz is isolated, and Expect claims kill too.
Yeah, he did not see that teleport. That's why he tried to see if he can taunt Trick with all the minions around and see, okay, maybe I can kill him in time.
But here's your cross map, Deficio. Caps and Broxa on this mid turret, trading once again.
Yeah, this is actually good for Fnatic. They don't care about losing one kill top on their tank. They took the bot lane tower because, of course, Expect, while he was down there defending, TP top, so he's gone. It's only 2 guys down there. And then they also get mid tower because Caps, of course, been dominating this 1v1 matchup. In the end, Fnatic get 2 towers and lose 1 kill. And G2 lost the teleport against a Shen composition. So all in all, a big win for Fnatic right here.
Sometimes you don't always want to gank the teleport when something else important is on the line.
Actually, even if Soaz knew the TP would come down here, I think him going for the potential kill is actually the best play. Because he knows there's no tower for him, and he had a massive minion wave to try and kill Trick. And at this point, he's just buying time. Right now, buy time. You know you're gonna die, but you also know your team is getting 2 towers.
You know, on top of that, he also got a flash out of Trick as well, so a little bit extra value. Broxus coming in. Oh man, if he would be able to steal that Rift Herald, that'd be something else. But the Sonic Wave is going to expire. It's Trick and Mithy taking their time about this. Should have a finish off. Ooh, threatening. But Trick secures it.
Yeah, if he had hit that one, I think he would have gone for it, but just missed it in the end. So Rift Herald over to G2 Esports. We have not seen good Rift Heralds today.
Yeah, there's definitely a bit of a misfire earlier.
Not been able to do a whole lot with them. Obviously, mid lane is often the preferred target for them, but if you have a split pushing top laner, it's actually fine to put it in his lane. That's exactly what they did right here. Trick basically saying, I know my Jarvan is winning the 1v1. I'm going to give him a Rift Herald, so his pushing power is even stronger. Screw the mid lane. I want to just back up Expect here, because Expect pushed in the bot lane. Rift Herald is on the way to try and take tower. Fnatic are forcing play on top lane, though.
They can push a little faster than the Rift Herald can right now. However, Sven and Mithy have joined, and they're out of minions, so Fnatic got to back off. Expect moving into mid to see if he can close the distance on Caps. Slithers away. He's got his flash up this time, so he's perfectly happy to take this 1v2.
And while Rift Herald pushing bot lane, the rest of G2 are looking to get something on the top side. Won't really get any damage made because they couldn't force Caps out of lane. That's why Expect came into this mid lane to try and maybe get a flash. Rift Herald, fantastic burst up front, and then kind of lackluster damage after.
Yeah, it kind of puts it all into the battering ram, doesn't he? Or she, excuse me.
Yeah.
I don't want to assume genders. On the Rift Herald, that's for sure. Sven stepping up. Reckless and Jez is waiting in the wings.
Shen ulti, baby!
Here we go! Reckless delivering! The other ninja right on top of Sven, and that puppy is going down.
I mean, we saw this in game 1. We've seen it in game 2. We've seen it last split.
So is instant TP down bot 2. He's going to be able to save tower.
Well, he's trying at least to save it and also maybe set up a play because Broxa is on the way.
Man,
Broxa just wants this Elder Drake, Cloud Drake. Definitely not the same, guys. Definitely not the same.
Glad you cleared that one up. Man, Soaz is putting in overtime, Deficio. I'll tell you what. Able to fend off Expect right now, but Broxa might have bitten off a little more than he could chew. However, it does mean that Jez and Reckless will be able to finish off the tower that they started a while back. Trying to shore up that gold lead 16 minutes in.
I feel like in this meta, we see so many Shen performances that are just very suboptimal, where it feels like Shen didn't really do anything. But Soaz are often able to really utilize the double TPs, or the ulti and then his own teleport, so effectively to be basically 2 places at once. I'm top lane, getting a
that's
kill.
where the
on
ninja
lane.
stuff comes in. I said he wasn't a good ninja, but
Source is a good ninja. Source is a very good ninja.
Well, I mean, it's similar to Reckless with the Kennen, right? You got to give him props for playing this champion out so well. Now Sven could be in trouble. He's stunned up by the Shuriken, has to flash out, followed by Reckless. The man has no fear, and he gets the kill, but we're checking back in at the Drake as Expect picks off Broxah.
There's on him.
Oh, right goes down. That's going to be Expect falling, but not before they were able to secure quite a lot. Trades all over the map here, Deficio. It's chaotic.
Yeah, once again, Reckless staying in that side lane, goes straight for the 1v1 kills. Sven, they're not respected damage early on.
Caps is trying to stop Axe here.
He's
Looks like he's going to do it right now. He's still able to hang tough. That turret's going down. Jezz and Reckless have not stopped pushing. Soaz gets the taunt, but Perkz is going to cleanse it and flash away.
Oh, he's
in again, looking for Trick. These guys are relentless right now. Caps exhausted, still putting out damage. That Munchkin's coming for him, but Jezz steals the kill away at the end.
Oh,
secures.
Fnatic.
He secures it, Deficio.
That is fighting everywhere. It's so fast. It's so hard to react. Sven caught and died top lane. Meanwhile, bottom lane, you would think, okay, this is in favor of G2 now. This is actually way earlier, by the way.
Let's rewind the clock a little bit.
So this is the Shen ulti onto Reckless, the classic, hydrated carry in the side lane, and then Shen ultis onto him that every team in the world will utilize. Maybe mainly Fnatic will use that strategy. Source bot lane to defend. Into then a dragon fight right after, where you can see in the minimap, 2 guys from Fnatic are top lane. So this is 4v3. And engage from Expect into a kill on Lee Sin, but then Caps are just feeling so confident because Perkz didn't manage to join the fight early. Perkz then kind of walks around a little bit weird and realizes, okay, not actually dealing any damage at first. And the full HP, fairly fed Cassiopeia at this point.
Yeah, can do this.
Can do this, and just at this point, Caps he's looking for kills, but he's also looking to just stop G2 from actually going back to base and see if maybe Reckless and Jezz can push a bit more.
Yeah, big swing now for Fnatic, and it was all a bamboozle, stopping their backs to allow for the extra tower taken out, but Reckless flashing under that while all this was going on to finish off Sven. I mean, yeah, Caps, he couldn't quite close the distance, but we know how it all ended. Back to live, the action never stops. Reckless this time is on his own, or is he? It's Soaz tagging in, and now the tables have turned. Trick's out of there, and Reckless on a killing spree, 3-0, looking for Expect. It's never just one member of Fnatic.
I like that, Pyra. It's never just one member. Redemption as well from Jezz to keep them alive and buy enough time for Shen to show up. And the Kennen Shen combo for Fnatic. Game 1 it worked. Game 2 it worked for most of the game. Game 3, once again, it is dominating.
But this is the big gold swing now. Fnatic are not stopping. They've got 4 towers. They're looking for number 5. And with a 2-man advantage, G2 aren't even moving to try and defend this one as they come back up off cooldown. We're approaching 20 minutes, and this is looking a lot more like Game 1 than Game 2.
All right, Baron spawning. It's been actually an objective that's been killed very early in this series. Like, last game was the 21-minute Baron. After that one team fight from G2, they just rushed straight into it and took it down. Fnatic played around it in Game 1. So Reckless trying to sneak into the bottom lane. He gets engaged on, but then it's Shen ulti and then Redemption coming in as well. If Reckless dies before Shen shows up, then obviously it's not really going to be very good for Fnatic. But Redemption and the rest of them making sure everyone is staying alive.
You know, it's a pretty minor thing, but honestly, the most impressive thing about that for me was that inside the Jarvan pit, Reckless was still able to lightning rush dodge the cocoon. Honestly, I think that made a big difference.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, no QSS on him either. He might have been dead to rights.
Also got to keep in mind the lifesteal he's actually getting when he's getting to auto attack. If he gets stunned up instantly, he can't do that.
Just Reckless things. Hell of a player, that guy. Really taking it to G2 Esports right now. Fnatic can finish this game off and take a series lead early in the split. That has got to give you supreme confidence that you can take on the rest of Group A. And they're looking like they can do it.
Yeah, I think they're pretty confident.
Maybe the rest
already.
of the EULCS. Let's go with that.
Right, yeah. After your 2-0 start, where you took down Misfits and NIP, you're probably not too scared of Rocket right now. No offense to Rocket, of course, but I think if you're Fnatic, yes, you're feeling pretty good. If you're G2, even if you lose this series, you're still feeling very good about your group here. And it's just so fantastic. We get 3 games. We get the classic Fnatic comfort picks and playstyle, and we get G2 trying to counter it, trying to play against it. Hello, Reckless. Is that a cannon?
We've seen this movie before, and I know how it ends. Reckless gets the finisher. No assistance required. And Sven knows there's no way in hell he's getting the Acathian surprise. And wouldn't you know it, Deficio, look at the time. Baron's up.
There we go. Early Baron being rushed down once again. They have the damage to do it. Sven, while he could try and check the brushes with his ulti, it is so hard once you are behind against this cannon. Always hiding in a brush. Always ready to just assassinate you.
Ooh. G2 decided they beat the cannon in game 2. They could give it away in game 3. I don't think that was the wisest choice.
Well, game 2, they would say, yeah, look, we can just go late game and we can beat it.
Yeah.
That's always the thing, but I agree. And we said this in game 1, we said this in game 2. So it's not just, you know, hindsight 2020, but...
No, we do much more than results-based analysis.
Definitely. It just gets so much harder to play the game when you give Shen and Kennen to Fnatic.
I mean, that's the flip side, right? Yeah, it was so critical. They could have picked it up as well. They could have taken Shen early on, but they thought they'd be able to, you know, make the plays. And in all honesty, like, G2 have not looked awful in this game. It was really a big opener that kind of set Fnatic up for success. And, you know, the problem is you give them an inch, and they'll go about a light year.
Thought there was some lighting rush in there, but no.
Yeah, I thought about it.
Yeah. Didn't commit.
Oh. Reckless. Looked like he was going to be caught out, but Fnatic are looking to close the trap. Now Perkz pushed back by Soaz with the Baron-empowered minions. Fnatic 1-3-1 working out.
Perkz hates this game. He's not been able to do anything on this Lucian, under pressure in the laning phase. Then he tried to join that fight early near the dragon. Didn't really manage to do a whole lot. And it's been a tough game for him to really have an impact in. And kind of look at Sven then, but he's 0-3. So none of the carries from G2 are farmed or fed by any means.
Oh yeah. G2, 3 EULCS champions, the kings of Europe, as we always call them, the new kings, and those robes are looking a little shabby right now. Sven taken down to half his health. Roxa does not want to take the Sonic Wave in onto Trick. Fnatic can afford to wait it out, to push it out slowly with these Baron-empowered minions. A couple of cannon creeps. The siege is on inside the castle at G2. Can they hold on here? There goes one cannon creep.
Yeah, you don't really have any minions to back you up right now, and that little one guy who's not exactly tanking the tower for you.
I mean, he's doing overtime.
Don't worry.
Look at him. He's on 1 health. He's still fighting.
Someone hit him. Thank you, Mehdi.
Rest in pepperonis. Capso as Brox is still threatening here. Meanwhile, Reckless on the bottom side. You can see where G2's priority is. Yeah, 3 members down bot.
Go bot lane, guys. Kill him.
Okay, he's gotten the dunk on, but he flashes out, trying to turn back around. Soaz doesn't even use Stand United.
Good timing, though, from G2, because they just killed the wave mid. So there was no minion wave for Fnatic to take the tower with. That's why they could go bot lane and make a play. Reckless there overstayed slightly, which is why he got jumped. If he stepped away and waited for this minion wave to actually hit the tower, then no one from G2 can really go bot and force a fight, because then they lose the mid tower. So for G2, it's constantly playing in between the waves. Now, mid lane wave is gonna die. They can actually go bot lane and kill a wave as well. But now Fnatic are tired of waiting for these stupid minions and just kill the tower instead.
Want something done right, you might have to face tank a tower. But unfortunately, G2 have been able to push him off. This is the power of this Kog'Maw. He may have had a rough time of it when faced in an uncertain situation up against Reckless in a brush, but Sven is still able to clear waves with a ferocity. On to Caps, looking for that. He's got flash. He's in no danger.
No,
that couldn't quite close the gap and didn't get that Cataclysm, yeah.
All right, Baron is gone right now, but Fnatic didn't manage to take down mid tower, and now they all have to just back away and kind of reset the map. Realize, okay, we didn't get it this time around. Reckless did have to use his flash. And I want to say, Pyro, big picture. I'm really happy that Fnatic are not just getting destroyed by G2 Esports, because it would be really bad for Europe if our top team was so good that they could go on holiday, show up without a lot of practice, and still take down one of the best teams in Europe without any problems.
And in other splits, we would have seen that. G2 was so domestically dominant, and that was why it was so frustrating to see them struggle on the big stage. But now they come back hot off an MSI performance that they got redemption in, and we're seeing Fnatic challenge that.
And that's why I don't care if G2 is playing on 20%, 50%, 90%, 100%, whatever it is. I'm just glad that once they actually come back to the LCS, and it's early on and after the break, a team like Fnatic are good enough to really challenge them and take them down. Like, this game has been very convincing for Fnatic. Game 1 was the same deal, and that's good for us.
And even Game 2, early on, Fnatic looked like they were going to be able to put themselves in a very good position, but G2 were able to find some bite back, and that's why we got this great series here. So as jumped on, he's got flash. He's still hanging in the pit. Oh, can he get out in time? He doesn't. That was almost a Soaz.
Almost a Soaz, but now mid lane tower might go down, but actually there's still no minions for Fnatic to kill it.
Oh boy, Sven is going low, kicked out. That puppy's out of there. Broxah looking for the chase down, and he flashes in for the finisher.
Well, Expect is coming down here to see if he can kill Broxah.
Okay, the fights never end here right now. Broxah back within some minion range, and Reckless looking to try and turn back as Expect realizes he might have gone a little bit too far out of range for the rest of his team to be able to help him out. Stunned up, nearly a tower, turning around. Can he do it? Wild Growth's on. Mythi's gonna save his life.
So they got a kill on Sven here, lost source, but they got mid lane tower. That's the important one. They're finally inside the G2 base. Inhib dropping as well. 11,000 gold lead from Fnatic.
Oh boy, Caps has no fear. He was going right in onto 3, but he might pay for that with his life. Perks looking to chase him down, get some revenge of his own, but he is way too slippery on that snake. Fnatic are able to back away after finishing off mid and hip.
All right, Baron, 1 minute. We slow it down a little bit. And I say that in a Fnatic game.
I mean, it's all relative. It's all relative.
So, 1 minute for that Baron. That's going to be the setup. That's going to be all Fnatic needs to close out this game right now. As long as they execute their Baron play properly, they should be able to walk into this base of G2 Esports, take down the last few inhibs, and close out this game with this massive goal lead, 3 full items on Reckless. Sven, going back to base now to complete his Rage Blade. Finally, he's a full item down. The play from mid. Mythic gets in stunned, and then Broxah diving in. Heal from Sven is giving him enough HP to not get fully executed by that Lee Sin ulti.
Still dodging things out, and yep, Sven, oof, having a rough one.
Always good with their impressions after dying. We've had a lot of singles on Sven.
Well, this game, he's definitely not finding it quite so easy, but he is still Kog'Maw. We're still 28 minutes into this game. He's not going to get any weaker.
No, but this is about Fnatic and them actually setting up around this Baron. They got all the control wards they need. Source without any globals right now, so you can't actually sit bot lane, but you know if you're Fnatic, yeah, you're just waiting for this one pick.
Trick's going to have to come right back on down, and they will finish him off, even through the Wild Growth. And that's meaning no smite now for G2 Esports, but Fnatic aren't interested in the big purple worm just yet. They're going to go right in on to Expect. He dunks, but he gets dunked. Perk's going to have to flash away to avoid the tether of Jez's, and Fnatic say, who needs the Baron? There's an open base in mid.
Yeah, I guess you don't really want to spend time taking that Baron down if you've already killed 2 guys on the side of G2. Once again, that slow minion wave in the mid lane. Never really with Fnatic. It's coming now, so they have to actually say, okay, never mind, we can't go for mid.
Well, Caps might be a little isolated here, but the team's right behind the wall, and Lucian grounded. It's Caps that finishes it off. Reckless tags his way in, and all of a sudden, they looked like they were in trouble. They baited it right back, and that is gonna be it. Stopping to finish off the inhibitor, and it is going to be Nexus turrets. Mythy and Trick here desperately to defend, but nothing doing at all. What happens when the Royals clash here in Europe? Well, you know what? It's a renaissance. Fnatic have done it. They've taken down the Kings 2-1. GG.
And as we talked about in the game, Pyra, the fact that Fnatic can win this series here is a very good sign. It's not about how practice is G2 at the moment. We know they're going to get better. We know G2 will pick it up once they have more time. It's important that Fnatic are good enough to take them down 2-1 and actually do it with some very, very one-sided games as well in both Game 1 and Game 3.
Right.
Where we saw Fnatic really get some good early leads.
And to build an insurmountable lead against a team that loves to lock you down and control you like G2 Esports, that's what makes it all the more impressive. And the longer this split goes on, Fnatic are just looking hotter.
Of course, they're looking very good after they kept the lineup from Spring Split. Some of them went to Korea to practice as well, more in solo queue and everything, and now joined up with Reckless back here in Europe, who's of course looking on form. 3 times Kennen, 3 good games from him, and
yeah, even the loss.
3-0 Fnatic now. early on, week 2. Now we need to see G2 Esports obviously start picking it up once again, return to their top form, and then suddenly you have a fantastic battle for first place in Group A. Like week 7 is when they play each other again. Note that one down, because that's going to be such a fantastic series once more. We got everything we could ask for here. 3 games, fun games as well.
Yeah, and honestly, fighting for every scrap of control on the Rift. Masterful play. We talked about Fnatic stepping up individually last week. Well, that was some incredible teamwork. For G2 Esports, obviously it's disappointing for these guys to come back and be faced with the loss. But in all honesty, if anyone's going to be able to bounce back easily, it's them.
Of course, definitely. Very true.
But man, what a hell of a series, man. That was incredible.
We got Ken and Shin 3 times.
I know, and you normally think, it's, you know, like same champion picks, all right.
Yeah,
but
like,
they still got it through.
Those are the 2 champions you just normally never see go over to Fnatic.
Yeah, they get banned, well, and they get banned against everybody else too. So unconventional strategies, I suppose.
I guess G2 definitely test some things, and it is regular season. You can't really blame them for trying out, you know, how do we deal with this cannon? Maybe next time we play Fnatic, do we have to remove it? Or do we actually feel like we're now confident dealing with it? Because at some point, you have to just look at the key comfort picks and say, okay, we can't keep just banning it every game. Like, what if the meta shifts and you have to ban 3 specific champions every time on red side, and then you play Fnatic, and then the cannon is left open? Like, at some point, you got to learn to play against it. This was not the game where G2 learned how to play against the cannon, because...
I mean, they did okay in game 2, right? We got to give them credit. They were able to shut down the early plays, and it was also Caps stepping up pretty big in a lot of those instances. But all the same, it was pretty awesome to see how that series unfolded. Now, with an action-packed 3 games, Fnatic got the win with a strong performance in game 3. We're going to send it over to the post-game lobby to break it down.
Thank you very much, Pyra, and welcome to the post-game lobby, where we will take a look back at our first day here in week number 2. Before we do, we're just waiting for an interview to get set up. And gentlemen, Fnatic have now joined an elite group of teams who've taken down G2 Esports in a best-of series on European soil. They joined Rocket as the only other European squad in the last year to take down G2. What a series, guys. I mean, Fnatic played out their mind, Henning.
Yeah, really playing well there here in Game 3, going back to the roots in Game 1. And I think what's so interesting is that everyone knows their style. Everyone knows this is what they're going to be doing. Play the Shen, get the picks with the Reckless, and they're still able to pull it off, even though G2 knows exactly what's coming their way.
Yeah, before we talk about the early game, let's take a look at that final fight that sealed the deal here for Fnatic. I mean, catching out Perks' Lucian, who really just had a very difficult game all game long, Vedius.
I'm really impressed with just how Fnatic were able to play. Like, bear in mind that Reckless had a 4-level advantage over his AD carry counterpart. The 2 main carries were just doing what they were supposed to do, dealing damage to the enemy team. G2 just didn't stand a chance.
No, definitely didn't. Henning, let's step back now, all right? The excitement is starting to settle down. How did Fnatic win the game overall? Because it kind of felt like they were in control for a large portion of it.
Yeah, they kind of went back to the roots like what they did in game number 1. And Reckless being able to find these picks so consistently, it's what impressing me, because as we've said, he's up against the kings of Europe, and he's still able to find the picks over and over. And G2 don't really know what to do against it.
Yeah, it's a bit surprising. The Shen-Kennen combo caught them again, Vedius.
The thing that fascinated me was it felt like a repeat of exactly what we saw in game 1, where the bottom lane of G2, they went for something a little bit more scaling orientated, and they never got to a point where we saw that actually come into fruition. They lost pressure in the mid after Perks ended up dying in a 1v1, thanks to the assistance of Broxer. Yeah. But also, it was simply a matter of Fnatic sticking to what they know. They played exactly the same style they did in game 1, and G2 seemed to fall for exactly the same traps. So I just feel that, to me, G2 was saying, we know how to play against this. We feel confident. We had a bad game 1. We'll be better prepared. And Fnatic said, no, no, we're going to kill you. And that's exactly what they did.
That is what they did. I want to talk a little bit more about the series in a moment. Fnatic are very happy after their win. Let's actually see what Broxer has to say about the series.
Thank you, Quick Shot. All right, he said happy, but let's hear it from you. How does it feel to take down G2?
It feels completely amazing to beat G2. I think it was my 3rd series against them, and especially the last series was really close, and we had a lot of chances to actually win it. So after that, we were really looking to win today and get our revenge. Obviously, it's the team everyone's looking to beat in Europe, so beating them feels amazing.
Now, I'm curious, what was the difference between this series that you guys played today and the series that you've played in the past where you haven't quite been able to take down G2?
I'm not sure. I mean, we've just been, getting closer, getting more time together, kind of working a bit more on our style. And I think, just getting to know each other better and getting more synergy going has been really helpful. And we've been looking at the mistakes we made in the past and tried to make sure we didn't do the same thing again today.
Learning as you go. So I'm curious, how important is that team synergy, that communication in the style that you guys are trying to show us on stage today?
I think with the style we play, we rely a lot on playing individual champions, individual plays, and it requires a lot of coordination. So being able to work together is definitely really important. And I think it has showed already the split that we are for surely getting better at it as well.
Definitely has. Taking down G2 is a pretty clear indicator that things are getting better. Now, we hear from Fnatic players all the time. We ask you about Fnatic's goals. Now, Worlds, everybody's eyes are set on it, but I want to hear a little bit more about your personal goals as a jungler. What is the goal for you, Broxa, in terms of improvement in the future?
Well, I guess for this split, I have 2 goals myself. Obviously, first of all, we want to go to Worlds. Like, that's our goal as a team. But apart from that, I want to, show that I'm actually a really good jungler and that I should be respected. So I'm going to look to, play well and show that I can be among the best junglers in Europe.
And for you, how do you know when you're going to reach that goal? What is the moment for you where you think, I have met that point, people respect me, people know not to mess with Broxa in the jungle? How do you kind of measure success there?
I mean, I guess it both depends on how well I play individually and how well we play as a team. Obviously, if, let's say, we play really well in playoffs, I play well myself, then I'm not sure if I reached my goal already, but I'm slowly but surely getting there then. So hopefully we can just keep playing well and then we'll see what happens.
We will have to see in the weeks to come. Well, congrats again on your win over G2, and thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me for now. However, we are going to send it back to Trevor Quickshot Henry in the post-game lobby.
Thank you very much, Daniel Dracos, as we are back at the analyst desk. And Broxa, just great performance. And great to see continual growth. In the spring split when Broxa came in to replace Amazing, there was a lot of doubts, a lot of question marks around this guy and what he was going to do. And throughout the last, call it 2 months, 3 months, he's gotten better. He's gone from, play to play, and the team is evolving around him as well.
It's pretty staggering how when I was an amateur caster, this guy was playing in some of the UK events, right? Like this guy was playing in some of the challenger teams. Like that was a long time ago, and then he went from challenger to LCS to competing against the best jungler in Europe. Like this guy has made phenomenal progress in a single split. And just demonstrates the amount of focus and hard work that he's put into perfecting his craft. Yeah,
he's been around for a while. He actually won the first Ragnarok as well, so he's been in a lot of these sort of regional scenes for a while. And now, just as you said, shows so much potential in a short time and improving really quickly. I think, yeah, you gotta say he's one of the big junglers in Europe.
It's very exciting to see the whole team evolving. Fnatic going to that bootcamp, minus Reckless coming back, looking better. We're seeing growth from last week to this week in the games against stronger opponents. It's quite exciting. Let's look at the series as a whole. G2 and Fnatic, they gave us a very exciting 3-game series in this top-tier matchup. Let's see how this developed, going all the way back to game 1. Vedius, I'm going to ask you again to just tell me how bad this play was from G2.
I was very vocal about how I feel that G2 could have predicted and better planned out how they dealt with the level 6 Shen play, but you still have to give credit to the way in which Fnatic executed, because this is a composition that they have time and time again made work for them, and you can just see how well they have been able to refine this style, and the fact that it was able to work against G2 just demonstrates the amount of skill that they have developed with it.
We see here in Game 2, though, G2 adapted well to what was Fnatic's playstyle. They targeted Soaz, he was not able to get a lot done, and this Shen kind of getting shut down which also led to Reckless not being able to go for these sort of aggressive plays that he has been preferring to go for.
And of course, that was the game that broke the 7-game win streak that Reckless had accrued on the Kennen. It didn't matter because after that, we jumped into game number 3, where G2 go, Shen, Kennen, we've got an answer. It doesn't matter. We'll just let it through. But they fall prey again in the same series. Slightly different circumstances, of course, but interesting to see the same mistakes from a team that actually is pretty good at fixing mistakes.
We also got to see Caps delivering in this mid lane matchup, right? Like, that's what I was super excited about. The fact that right at the start of the day, Hanning, you were saying, I want to see like Fizz, I want to see Caston, I want to see them killing each other. And that's what we got. They were killing each other all the time. Sure, there was a couple of junglers meddling here and there, but the 2v2 action is something that I can still be happy with because in the majority of instances, it was actually Caps that was coming out on top of the king. And I think that was really impressive because in the past, yes, we did see Caps get a couple of solo kills onto Perks, but then that was when Perks was in like a slump. You know, he was working on his other things. He was saying that his mechanics have suffered. And then he goes up against Faker. He bodies Faker at MSI. And then he comes back and you expect him to have that same level of mechanics. And sure, Perks was good. But Caps today, to me, felt better.
Yeah, I just gotta agree with Vedius there. Caps showed up big time. Also, gotta remember Perks had these medical issues, had this...
That's true. Maybe I'm a little hard.
Wasn't able to practice as much as he would have liked to, but still, really good play from Caps. And I like how the teams adapted the pick and ban phase. I think banning out Orianna in the last game was really good, and then picking up the Cassio into the Lucian, which worked out well.
We talked a lot about mid laners, you know, at the beginning of the series, hype, expectation, baby Faker versus, you know, the lane kingdom Perks, God. What about AD carries, right? Reckless, he got his Kennen. He was allowed to play Kennen against Sven. Had a great game on Twitch in game 2, but then got smashed as Pugmore in game 3. What's your take on Sven versus Reckless, Henning?
It's got to be pretty clear. I'm a bit sad if Issue isn't here, actually, because it's obvious to everyone who's the superior here when it comes to Sweden versus that irrelevant country in the south. I don't know. Look at the kill share here. 47% for Reckless. That means he's getting half of his team's kills.
That's not half. Half is 50%, but I get the point, okay? I get the point you're trying to make. I am going to announce right now that actually player of the series is going to be Reckless. The team played around him. They rallied behind him. It's a comp and a strategy we've seen many times before. Vedius, what do you take on this? I mean, Kennen, should he be allowed to play it?
Stop giving the man Kennen. I think that, sure, G2 did adapt in game 2, and I think that if you're going to give him Kennen, just don't give him Shen or Galio or anything else that's really good at keeping him alive, literally from the other side of the map. Because when this guy gets an opportunity to go off in the early game, man, does he go off? This guy, sure, he may have slumped a little bit last split. There were times where he was feeling down, but I feel like coming into this split, he is rejuvenated and he is playing out of his mind.
I'm really excited at the potential of this Fnatic squad, and we do have to take into consideration that G2 were a little bit under practice, but that doesn't remove the fact that Fnatic won here. Their victories again 1 and 3, very clear, pretty strong at the end of the day. I think that does it for G2 versus Fnatic. I want to take a look at Misfits and exactly how they managed to take down the Ninjas in Pajamas a little bit earlier today. It was a pretty dramatic series. Not necessarily the cleanest, Henning. We were watching that from backstage here, and it was fun.
It was fun watching this, even though my prediction got all wrong. Misfits showed up with some good macro play. What I did like from NiP, though, is that they did not just fall over and accepted a loss. They really tried to go for the plays until the last moment.
I just thought it was a fun series. Like, not only was it fun to cast, the fact that we did get to see some cool outplay stuff from NIP. We saw Shook getting a bunch of cool steals. Nagne again having good moments on the Talia. And I think Trall also, like, he had a number of impressive hooks on his Thresh. Like, he made a pretty, except for when he threw a lance into a wall. Like, forget about that. Like, aside from that, there are a lot of good individual performances at times. I still think there's a lot of work that needs to be done for NIP, but overall, Misfits looked convincing game 1. And then, like, the issues returned from spring where they were like, hey, we have a really good early game. And then they come to the mid and late. And in the past, they were really slow. They didn't know how to properly close out. But this time they were like, let's take a gamble. Let's try. And then they just gave pick after pick after pick. And then NIP were like, we will take that free gold and we will use it against you. And they nearly won the game.
The thing is, this is a series that you walk away from and you go, there are so many things that we could have done better, right? There's so many things that could have been interesting. NIP, they are not an easy win. All of the series that we've seen, they have pretty good individual players. They're maybe making mixed calls.
Game two,
mixed
man.
calls. However, I can't forgive that final call from NIP.
I know, right?
No minions. No minions to work with. They try to backdoor. I mean, Henning, that's never going to work.
Yeah, we have Hiku on his Ash pops. The Mercurial Scimitar went running towards the last Nexus tower just for the hell of it. I don't know, just trying to put down the tower, and there's
all
no
that went through NIP, like, they lost the Baron, and they go, Leroy Jenkins! And they went for the ending, right? Like, that was...
Look, the problem is you can't Leroy Jenkins, you have no damage. I'm actually glad you bring up Hiku. I want to move away from the series, of course, and talk a little bit more about some of the trends. Hiku had some interesting itemization, in my opinion. I felt he went Blade of the Rune King, Phantom Dancer, more of Malmortius, and Mercurial Scimitar. I'm not sure I can think of a more defensive AD carry build without adding a GA, maybe as the next item. What do you think?
Maybe that was his last item, I don't know. But yeah, going for double MR here in a game where you're up against a Rumble or Oriana, there's no way you as Ashe are going to be tanking the shockwaves if you position correctly. So I think this double MR build is just Hiku saying that he's not confident in his positioning.
I feel like, though, you can give him a slight benefit of doubt in the sense that he had... If I remember correctly, he did have a Jace on the team, and he also had a Talia.
Yep.
So, like, there's quite a lot of damage output, but when you are very likely to get into the later stages of the game, like, you want that Infinity Edge out. You want the Last Whisper. You want these high damage dealing items because you're Ashe. You're a hyper carry. That's what you've been known for years, and when it gets to really late into the game, you can shred through so many members.
You can't with this build, though.
No, you can't.
Because Ignor's support Galio tanked about 25 auto attacks. Just stood there and was like, well, I'm not really worrying about this. What about some of the other items? I don't want to tunnel too hard on this one Ashe build, but we talked a lot about sort of Ninja Tabai. Henning, you actually had a quote earlier today about how Ninja Tabai nerfed on this patch. It opens up some options. But what about other items? Other builds? Reckless is addicted to Frozen Mallet. We're seeing a whole lot of that Cog Rageblade build, which helps with tank shredding. So give me some insights.
Yeah, what we're seeing with the Frozen Mallet on Reckless is pretty much, he's the almost the only one building it, and it's because he plays his own style. Most AD carries, as we saw Sven in that last game, just sit at the back of the fight, get the shields, and they try to put down damage from a long range. Reckless goes up in your face, tries to catch out, and then Frozen Mallet helps a lot. So it's adapting to his playstyle.
A part of me thinks it's because he knows people like to kill him. So if you have a little bit more HP, makes it harder to kill him. But also, I feel like as an AD carry, he's one of the few in Europe that acts as an active split pusher, right? He is someone that regularly goes off into a side lane, and a Frozen Mallet is a very split push effective item. Not only does it help you stick onto your targets, but it also gives you a little bit more health and ability to trade back and forth. So when he does go off into these little Fnatic brushes where he sits in the death brush waiting for an opportunity, I think it does contribute and also gives you a bit of AD to add to your burst. So I think it makes sense in the style that Reckless likes to play.
Yeah, when split pushing against a melee champion, obviously the slow is going to be very helpful as well to be able to kite away, which we saw him do a very good job in that last series.
One of the items that I would have liked to seen more of is the Death Stance. Okay. I think that it's a pretty good item right now in the current meta, and champions like Jarvan can actually get a lot of benefit out of it. Same for like Fiora too, a champion that's been recently picked up a lot into the tanks in the top half of the map. We've actually seen her banned away quite regularly in Europe. I think it's just an item that is a little bit underutilized right now, especially when we are still seeing Graves jungle. It could be a perfect item for him to be picking up. Yeah. So I think that there are still some items that teams maybe haven't figured out the full power of yet, or maybe I'm just overvaluing its contribution.
It's one of those things we have to keep tracking, right? 7-11 today, first couple of games here in EU, so we'll see how that continues to progress throughout the week. Let's move on to another topic that, you know, I don't really want to talk about, but I have to. What the hell happened to EU Barons? We've been famous for Baron dancers for a long time, right? And I accept that. But what was going on here?
Well, this was a really good one. This is the Misfits
the only one, maybe.
Yeah, the only good one. Yeah. Look, the Misfits had really good vision. You can see in your minimap how they were able to find a pick. They had full control. And this is how you take a Baron. This is not how you take a Baron, where you go for a 50-50 play, there are little to no wards on the map, you try to go for a gamble and you say, we need gold, let's go for it, and then it just ends up collapsing all around.
Yeah, we can just compare the vision control of the topside jungle for these Barons, the good one, and these ones that have been getting stolen away. We also saw that from Broxa here. this Baron play, I know you're not too big of a fan, Vidius.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like the whole G2 going for the Baron and being like, let's get it to 2,000 HP and then leave. And I feel like if you're going to either bait the enemy team in or just hard commit to the Baron, you have to make one decision or the other, not kind of back away, hope they get drawn in, and then literally open the door being like, hey, we're going to leave. I'm going to leave this door open to my house. If you want to rob it, I will not stop you.
Oh, good Lord! Please don't take the Baron.
From the back garden. You know, it's like...
It also, like, I know we are like picking on this a little bit. Baron plays always tend to get better in the split. We saw it in spring as well. Teams need to wrap their heads around it, get used to the scenarios and the situations. But it was very comical, the number of times Baron plays went a little bit awry today. All right, so that's that for the Baron side. Let's take a quick look at the standings in group number A. What's A?
Group number A.
Fnatic. They obviously hold that lead with 3 series wins, and they've added a loss to the G2 Esports column today, Vidius.
How exciting. We've got a big shift up over in Group A, because remember in spring it was G2 Misfits Fnatic, and our Fnatic rather have been able to overthrow both Misfits, who seem to be under the weather right now, along with G2, who this is not the strongest G2 we've ever seen, but it's still a big wing which will contribute heavily when it comes to those playoffs later on.
Yeah, extremely important. I mean, the next time that G2 Fnatic will play, I believe, is week 7 or week 8, so it's a long time away. Heading Group A, at the top of the day, we talked about standings. You said expectations, no surprise. Today's results, you got 1 prediction right, 1 prediction wrong, so you have to be at least half surprised.
A bit of, yeah, half surprised. you can say that. I guess that kind of makes sense. No, but still looking at the standings in Group A, it's pretty much going as expected. G2 Fnatic, though, it's going to be a really tight race for the top spot, and I think this win for Fnatic is not only very important for the standings, but also for the mental game.
Yeah, I think so too. Well, let's take a look at the teams from Group B. They'll be hitting the roof tomorrow, starting with Splice, who will take on Vitality. And then, of course, Mysterious Monkeys versus EULCS. So let's talk about the Group B teams here. Splice, Vitality, going to be an interesting game. Measure the strength of Splice, how well they're going to do against Vitality, who should be the underdogs in this matchup. And then Mysterious Monkeys, well, look, anything other than being stomped is going to be a win, because UOL heavy, heavy favorites.
The thing I'm excited about for tomorrow is, number 1, we get to see the power gap between Splice and Vitality.
Okay.
Is it so big that Splice are in the same situation where they were in last split, which is they had a comfortable 3rd and Vitality was struggling to stay out of relegation? Or will they both be contenders for that 3rd place spot behind HDK and UOL? The other thing I'm excited for is to watch a monkey fight a unicorn, because I've never seen that before, and I think it'll be really exciting to have a mythical versus a non-mythical creature go at it head-to-head.
You know, I think I encourage this childish behavior. What do you think about the matchups tomorrow?
Really looking forward to the first one in particular. I think that's 2 teams that really want revenge after week number 1. Of course, the upper hand kind of has to go to Splice, but there are a lot of important lane matchups as well that I'd like to see. Specifically, the top lane matchup tomorrow I think is going to be really interesting.
And what do you think about meta-wise? Splice, they've had some fun picks and bans. Do you think we're going to see more experimentation from them, for example, or 7-Eleven, more of the same from today?
I think Splice has the deeper champion pools and definitely the ability to go for the unorthodox kind of plays right there. So I'm expecting some cool stuff to come out of Splice, yes.
All right, we'll have to see how they do. So, first of all, thank you very much, guys. That does it for us here. Time to call it a night from Berlin. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll be back tomorrow for some more action on the Rift. See you then, 5 o'clock.
You can actually relax right now. I can just relax. That's it. Pretty relaxing. Let's say relax.
We're going to see some blood, and the crowd is ready. So let's see, as they all get ready to duke it out, who will be grade A in Group A. And he's going to go down as well. Little bloods everywhere. Fnatic getting kills, Fnatic getting towers to this show.
Oh my god.
Knockback. He's in the pit. Can they take down Shook before they get the Baron? He makes it over the wall. Where is the smite? He gets it! NIP Misfits, you take the risk. They're more than happy to punish you. Look at Prophet. He's already breaking it in him. This is disaster.
Health, I should say, as so as Shockwave is going to pull in Trick, but the fight has gotten messy.
And the spike goes down. Roxa secures the Baron, while G2 are distracted. Come at the Kings, you best not miss, and that's what they say for this game. Perks is taken down Reckless, and that's the Nexus. G2 Esports firing back, and boy, do we have a series on our hands.
Oh, coming into Galio. Where's the entrance at? He is going to get knocked up. Alfari's in trouble. No equalizer. There comes Shook. That's going to be first blood dropping for NIP. Alfari throws his hands up. He knows something went wrong with the team.
Now Reckless isolated, but he's bringing the Shen. So as comes in just in time to nail a 2-man taunt, but Mithy, Trick, and Expect are Kruk is huge. It's a shutdown now for Perks.
Here he goes.
Gandalf not going to be able to stop them from getting into the pit. They're just going to keep going. Shook, where is he? Oh, he's done it again! I can't believe it. Shook is a monster.
Now get that moment where Fnatic have killed the outer turrets on both sides, and Caps going on in.
Flashing in, Caps is able to do it.
This is going to be simple and clean to end it out. It may have been messy all throughout the middle, but Misfits, they find the opportunity, they find the chance. Nagne tries to ride it out in style, but there it is, folks. 2-0 for Misfits, and their first series of the week.
Nolty, baby! Here we go, Reckless delivering! The other ninja right on top of Sven, and that puppy is going down. What happens when the Royals clash here in Europe? Well, you know what? It's a renaissance! Fnatic have done it! They've taken down the Kings! 2-1! GG!